It's your girl Adaloso, just in case you didn't know. So,
what's good, everyone? It's the conductor of the train, your boy DJ SJ614, and we are
the New York Dolls, baby. What
we got a very special guest with us today that we will dive into in a hot moment, but I'm going to start us off with our first section of the show. This is Empire State of Mind, okay? Now, using some New York City slang as segment titles, Empire State of Mind is where we showcase our transparency. During this section, we like to make sure we're good, talk about what's lit in New York City, confess something that deadass blew our minds this week, and shout some people out with the yes, if they deserve it. Yeah. So because we have a special guest, our first segment for today is Who You? So I want to know, Celey, who you?
What you want to do?
Oh my gosh, that's just the most pressure way of having to say who I am. Where do I start? And I don't know. Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's great to see your faces and hear your voices at the same time.
I know, it's so good to see you.
I think we've just been like quietly listening to each other's podcasts for a while.
Yes.
So I used to live in New York. I'm hoping to go back to New York. I'm currently in Vermont because I didn't even flee from the pandemic on purpose. I fled by accident.
Yes.
We could talk more about that later, I guess, because that's not who I am, I suppose, but I'm from Vermont.
Okay, come on, Vermont.
Yeah, it's nice up here. I just went apple picking this morning.
Yeah, how was that?
Like, really be a cliche about it. And I also host a podcast called Still Got It. It's a nostalgic movie review podcast. We rewatch movies you loved as a kid, or maybe movies you shouldn't have watched as a kid, but did watch as a kid, and now review them as the adults that we've become. And sometimes great, sometimes truly heartbreaking. I'm also a writer and a performer. I'm in a sketch comedy team. We just had a show last night. We've been trying to transition from being live to being on Twitch like everybody else. So that's been
okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's fun mostly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We miss each other. Yeah.
I know. Make sure you send us links for all these things so we can put them in the episode. I'll send you an email afterward, and definitely. But that's very that's very cool. That's very exciting. Your podcast is actually, your movie review podcast is actually one of my favorite ones to like listen to, because you guys have such it's analytical, and it's also like fun and quirky, and like the different characters, the friends that you bring in, they always somehow just like match your energy and your zest as well during all the movie reviews. And I just think that it's very fun. It is very nostalgic as well for me to like blast to the past with you guys, and kind of sometimes I try to watch the movie that I watched before I listen to the episode. So it's like I'll see the episode title and then I'll try to watch the movie. Like sometimes it doesn't always work for me, but I try. The last one that I was able to do that with was the Charlie's Angels episode that you guys did.
Oh.
So yeah, that's
Bernie.
so good, so funny, so smart. But yeah, I love that. And I guess just to say like how we met, Celey and I met, I don't know what year, but like a few years ago during the 1 Minute Play Festival.
Yeah.
100
years ago.
Yeah, 100, right?
Yeah.
And so that was just a great time. We were in various scenes together, and that was the thing. I'm trying to remember who directed it, because I was in 2. Was that the one with Ari?
Yes, I think.
Okay.
I think we were in a group with Ari Laura Kreif.
Yes.
She's just like the sweetest little raindrop of a woman.
Seriously.
But yeah, that was a while ago. I honestly had forgotten about that till you said it. So.
I always try to just like, okay, like how do we know these people, where are they coming from? It's just always so interesting to like, oh, okay, that was like 4 years ago. Wow, and here we are now, you know? So
and it feels like no time, and I feel like that's kind of what not all of New York is, but I feel like anything in the creative or this industry at all, like you meet people really intensely for like 2 weeks, and so that time just compresses, and it's all
exactly.
like it's,
exactly. Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. All right, well, we're gonna get over to our next segment. You good? And I want to know, Miss Adaloso Mommy, you good? What's going on? What happened the week?
Always feeling good, always feeling groovy and great. Like,
Yes,
while
yes.
still struggling, but we still here.
That's right. That's right.
But no, I had another good week.
Mhm.
Went skinny dipping for the first time this week.
Yo, that was so
I just had to put it out there because it was the most freeing experience. One of the most freeing experience I've had in my life thus far, and it was also like on my bucket list or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it just felt so magical. I wanted to share that because it really taught me how to like love my body at its form right now. Like, and I feel
Yes.
like for 31 years, yeah, y'all know my age. It don't matter. The skin is still,
That's right. That's right. That's right.
It was just crazy because I was like debating like if I did want to talk about it like on this episode or whatever, but it's
Them
easy
titties
to.
was out, girl. Them titties was out. They were out.
We just share it. What's the point of having this if we're not gonna be
Right.
so but I want to share because again it was like just one of those I was like really sitting like even when I was writing the itinerary I was like damn like that's crazy like I like because I always had a lot of insecurities about my body and of course being a dancer and like those like pressures that were instilled like when you're younger of like how your body's supposed to look and all that
Yep.
stuff and like what a dancer's body's supposed to look like and all that stuff. So this week when I had that experience, it really taught me like after to just really love it as it is now, like and like yeah, so wanted to share that.
Love
So
that.
I'm happy about that because that was a big moment for me. And what else happened this week? Last late night beach set. we,
That.
we went. Well, this happened last night, but still the week.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the beach late at night in New Jersey. Shout out to Jersey.
Damn.
And it was like we had a whole set just laid out ready for us. And we were like, nah, we have to take advantage of this. And that was also very freeing and very like motivating. And I just been also just more motivated, more focused, a little bit more focused this week and like just seeing the light a little bit more throughout all this, everything that's happening. Of course, there's a lot of shit that's still going on, but this week has been more of like seeing like, that tunnel and then like seeing that light, like
Yeah.
seeing it brighter because I always
Mm.
saw it, but now I'm seeing it like brighter. So I'm happy.
Luminous. It's luminous.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
happy, and yeah, it's my week. How about you, baby boy? How's your week been?
This week, so also started with Hassan's birthday with you. We were up there in the mountains. Let me say that night was lit. Now fuck out of here. That night, yeah, yours was the PG version. That night was lit. Like it. My favorite thing about it was seeing the eclectic group of people that Hassan managed to gather upstate. And just to see him be loved by like so many other people around him as well. And just see just like how it was also kind of like a TU reunion. So, we went to Talent Unlimited High School and there was just like mad TU people there that Hassan didn't even know was from TU. And because like Hassan like works with them at like different gardens and things like that. So it, like to just see all these worlds collide was amazing. On top of that, meeting new people, vibing with new people. He had the lake in his like, I don't know if you want to call it the backyard, the front yard, whatever.
Like it's like a front yard lake.
Yeah, front yard lake. That shit was crazy. So, also my first time skinny dipping, had the balls flying, the ass was out, just everything was just there. It was also my first night drinking since, like really drinking since my August break. So I was lit. Also smoked. I was lit. Other people was doing other drugs. They was lit. And then it was like, oh, let's just go get in this water. You know what I'm saying?
It was nighttime too.
It was nighttime too, which also put just this like sexy setting. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a lot of dick, a lot of tit, a lot of ass. And
also a lot of, it was all of that, but it wasn't like you were like you make it sound like we were having a whole motherfucking orgy. No.
Well, no. I feel like, but it was two different experiences because you were on shrooms, so I feel like
What? No, I wasn't.
whatever. So I feel yes. So I feel like your experience was more like spiritual, just like getting in touch with yourself. No, bitch, I was horny. I was like, wow, it's a lot of body parts. I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy.
I cannot with you.
Cause you already saw what I was doing in the water, and that was
Celey, he was going for it.
I have
Yes.
some follow-up questions.
Yes.
Okay, so I took the first skinny dipping story really at face value, and I thought that's beautiful, that's great. And now I feel like there's so many. It's quite an onion of a story that we're not addressing.
Help us address it. Help us.
Because about Zoom is Zoom. I feel like I have to watch what I say.
No, this is amazing. I was gonna ask you where, if it was your first time skinny dipping, I was like, oh, was it at a public beach? Was it in a mountain lake at night? Was it in your friend's pool? Because I feel like I grew up with a pool in our backyard, and I feel like it was the pool where most people skinny dip for the first time because it just that was how it happened.
Wow.
So that's what I thought. But no, it turns out you both skinny dipped together for the first time in a mountain lake, which is very cool. Upstate.
In a lake, yes.
This sounds like a really significant birthday party. This is a really important birthday party. It sounds
it really, and it wasn't even ours. It wasn't even ours.
And I did not expect. I didn't even get invited. I was just plus one. He was like, he was like, you trying to go to this? And I was like, sure. And I just thought it was gonna be a cute little, barbecue backyard. I love moments like that you were not planned, you didn't expect. I didn't bring a bathing suit, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was gonna be backyard, situation, and then it just ended up by the water, and it was great.
It was definitely a night of something. And yeah, when we were leaving, we contemplated turning around to just handle unfinished business. It was just like a lot. It was just a very, very interesting night, but one of the best nights of the summer. So fun.
Yeah.
I also went on a 15-mile bike ride, maybe 2 days after that with one of my good friends, Andrew. We bike rode to Reese Beach and then back home to Brooklyn, and it was just it's good. This is supposed to be my month of exercising heavier again and more routinely. So I'm glad that I'm finding ways to sneak in these little things. So I love that. We got our tickets to LA this week.
Oh, we did.
So exciting. It's going to be my first time in LA, and I'm very excited about that, despite all the fires that I will be talking about later. But but excited about that. So that also happened this week, as well as a lot of shade in that fucking group chat along the way of booking those tickets and the Airbnb and things like that. Lots of catty arguments back and forth, but it was cute. It was cute. And then last but not least, the beach night from last night, which also was unexpected. We originally scheduled to go on a hike, but the way that the day waned out, just plans kept changing. We ended up on that beach with the light, and we got some great content out of that. So yeah, that was definitely my week, and I'm doing good. Yeah, it was a good week.
I've been with your ass all motherfucking week.
You really have. What's good? What's good? Like to send you all them Artemis receipts. They coming. They coming.
That Venmo,
yes, that beach day. This day, Hassan's birthday.
Also send me reminders too. I love it.
I'm a girl. I'm a girl about the coin.
Yes.
Celey, are you good? What's going on?
I'm technically good. I'm great. I'm also just very. You guys are making everyone, I think, probably very jealous with the seemingly normal things that you're doing, and just hanging out seemingly with people in person. Yeah. And honestly, very jealous.
Yes, we're being safe too. We wear
I believe
masks.
it. I trust and believe
And
it.
because people will probably be like, they're doing all this and there's a pandemic, and I'm like,
But
yeah.
Go ahead, Celey.
I was just gonna say, you make your way through. Like, if you were in New York during the shit of it, you learn real quick. Like, this is how I survive, and I follow the regulations, and here are my guidelines, and I wash my hands, and I wear my goddamn face mask.
Yeah, no, precisely. And I was gonna say this is a really interesting perspective coming from like Vermont. Like how have you been able to coordinate some sort of normalcy while you've been quarantining and up there, and you know what I mean? And then also I want to hear about the apple picking.
Yeah. Okay. Well. So yeah, I'm good. I'm up here, and it's kind of nice up here because honestly, like, there's just not the population density to like drive a pandemic for too long. Like, you simply can't do it. And the state has, like, the government and the state has been taking it pretty seriously and has still like keeping regulations on stuff, and like and that's been pretty good. And you really kind of like anywhere. I mean, you get pockets of people who are like really conscientious, and then you kind of travel a little bit too far in one direction, and nobody cares, and their mask is like hanging around their neck if it's on at all.
Yeah.
And here, that would stress me out, I think, a lot more in New York than it does here, because here I'm like, well, you know 4 people, and
yeah.
you live on 4 acres, so so it's been pretty good up here. I didn't like know that this is where I was gonna be for this long. I was in LA in early March. I was there for like, I was doing some meetings with my writing partner who lives out there. We were like,
you did tell me that. You did.
Yeah, and it was just, my folks also came out because they wanted to like do a vacation. So we all happened to just be in LA. They were kind of doing touristy stuff. I was doing worky stuff.
Yeah.
And then it started to get serious, like right around March 12th, like our meeting started to get canceled. And I was like, you know what? I think we're going to go home a couple days early. My dog was in the city. Like, we'll get the dog. I'll grab some stuff. I'm going to take you guys with, like, we'll all go home, and I'm just going to hang out with you for a couple weeks, make sure you're taking it serious.
Yeah.
That was in March. I have been living with my parents for 6 months. It is the longest I've been home since high school.
How are you doing, baby? How are you?
Thank you so much for asking. Really, they're lovely. They're so great. They're wonderful parents, but I am moving out in a couple of weeks to live in an apartment by myself for everyone's relationship benefit. Like, that's, we all love each other, and I would like it to stay that way.
Yeah. We always do it for them. It's not for us, really. It's
for me.
It's for them.
It's for free. Like,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm good. That's like the apartment that I'm moving into. We had to like do some renovations and stuff on it, and so that's been like a slow process that's like kind of slowly finishing. And so it's nice to be like, okay, also light at the end of the tunnel. Can start to think about like life, because I feel like we're all doing this thing where it's like, I make a plan, and then in a month it's like, well, that's not the plan.
Right.
So trying to be flexible, but also like, you still need to give yourself, like, you guys are so pumped about going to LA because you just want like little markers of stuff that are relied on, like, that feel fun. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Wait, are you moving back to New York, right? You said?
I want to move back to New York eventually, but right now, like, none of the stuff that I am doing, like live theater in small black box, like,
to come back. Yeah.
I mean, all my auditions have been on Zoom, and if I have to go back, like, I can get back to the city and like stay with a friend, probably safely for a bit if I need to.
Yeah.
But it's like too expensive to live there and not do the thing that like pays for me to live there, you know?
Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
And
then I'm curious, because I mean, I've never gone apple picking, so just I know.
No, I used to do that all the time.
I know. Yeah, you told me to. I'm totally down, but I've never done it. So like what was that like? Like, just walk me through the process. Like, what do you do?
It's honestly not that exciting. But it's
like, what was that like?
It's kind of what it sounds like. But so I have I'm in the town that I like grew up in. So some of my friends live here, and one of my best friends has a little girl who is like almost 3, and so mostly we go and like do stuff because like she's gonna have fun.
Right.
So she was like real pumped about the apple picking. Mostly we got there, we ate a bunch of cider donuts real quick, and then you pay for like they were so good, and they they make them fresh every day. Hackett's Farm in Isle of Mott. Like, what? You're never
Love it.
nobody listening to this is like gonna care. But you go and you like pay for like the whatever size bag you want to fill. You pay for the privilege of doing the work yourself.
Okay.
And yeah, it was like, I don't know, $10 to like, and then we just walked to like the section of the orchard that is for people to mess around it and not for like the professionals to pick apples that are like going to the grocery stores and everything.
Oh, okay.
And then there's just little tags on the tree, and depending on the tag color, it tells you what kind of apple that tree is.
Oh.
And so you just pick the ones you want.
Wow. Okay. Wow. No, yeah. Addie, yeah, we have to do this. I'm totally down.
Very easy.
No, and these apples, like, they are just so juicy. Like, it's different than the store apples, I feel. I mean, I'm sure it depends which store you buy it from and if they're organic or not.
It's like the season, too. It depends.
Yeah.
It's your season.
Okay.
So good. So good.
Ooh, very good. Very good. All right. We're going to move over to our next segment. It's lit. And this is where we talk about anything that's lit in New York City. We're going to start off with you, Celey. What's lit?
Again, I'm like a charlatan because I'm not physically there, but I'm gonna advocate for really over tipping your delivery guys because it's about to start getting cold. Yeah. I don't know what else is currently happening, but like I just keep following all my favorite restaurants, and like I want them to survive, but also like they can't afford to like do function the way that they're functioning. So if you're gonna order stuff, like just like, and you have a job still, tip that poor guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. When I was, getting that pandemic assistance and I was ordering, like in the beginning, I would like give a little bit more than, because I was just like, damn, they're dead ass risking their life. Like, they're like, they were the ones working at that beginning of the pandemic mostly. Them and of course the people at the hospital, but
they were essential.
Yeah, like think about like, if that was you, and they really survive off of those tips. So,
and forget like people like waiters and waitresses. If a restaurant's operating at 25%, like restaurants can't operate at 25%. They operate on the slimmest margins ever.
Yeah, it's not looking good. And I just want to say that Osseo Lake is lit, which is the lake that we were skinny dipping in. So there's that.
That is in New York. That is in New York.
There you go. We're gonna move over to our next segment. This is Dead Ass, where we talk about anything that blew our mind during this week. I'm gonna jump back to those fires in Cali. Okay, I was not aware of how serious the situation was. Like I knew about the big ones, you know what I'm saying? But I kind of thought that they like got taken care of and then it was just like done. I don't pay attention to the West Coast really, so I didn't know that they had like a fire season where they expect this like every year. What the fuck? I didn't know that. I did not know, like it just sounds so, okay. So because we are planning this trip to LA, somebody in our group chat is like on conference calls with people out there because of just like their job. And during the conference calls, like she's like, these people are complaining about the air, like they can't breathe right now. Sometimes the sky is like orange outside. It's just like very cinematic and dramatic or whatever. And then Addie has some girlfriends out there that she's been talking to, and they're like, yo, today the air was a little like thick and like this, that, and the third, yada, yada. And I'm just like, no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just like, which is crazy because LA, when I went, that was the first thing that stuck out to me. Like the air was just so like breathable. And it's crazy. Like I feel so sad.
That is so different now. Yeah. And I'm just like, wow, like it's why are like, can we like helicopter some water over there? Like just like make it rain on these people? Like what is going on? Like this is
we have to do this sounds funny or whatever, but like Julissa has said in our group chat, one of our friends, she was like, Addie, can you do a rain dance or something? But I believe in that. Like I might have to go by the water and we might have to go back to the beach and do a ceremony for them or something.
Yes,
because I do believe in that. But it's just like, also you sent that little clip last night of the podcast.
Yeah, so I was listening to the Daily and I just so happened to stumble, like all these things are just coming my way. Like the episode that like came on was about the fires in Cali, and I was just like, oh my God, just like all this it's just coming my way,
But I listened to it, and another dead ass moment in that clip when they were talking about, because I was listening to it last night before I went to bed, and I was just like, yo, this is crazy. Like, they're also like the government or the state, all of that shit. They're also rebuilding, like, people whose fires got building houses in the same spot.
It's a trap. That's why I'm like, they literally do this shit on repeat this.
And they were explaining too, because I was like, that is crazy fucked up. Why they keep making?
They basically lock them into this like contract that says they have to rebuild their homes over and over again to keep just like the economy going.
Because it's like in the contract, like it's like a certain amount of homes are supposed to be built.
Yeah.
But it was also just they were giving that perspective too. I was like, that's OD fucked up. And then they gave like the other side of it, that is, yes, it is the government, but it's also an emotional thing too.
Yeah, because it's like your home that you grew up in.
Yeah, so it's like the people are like also coming daily, like, give me my home back, like I want to. So it's just like, it's like they said like in the like, pick your worst situation, like
the weird catch-22. Go ahead, Celey.
No, I didn't realize that there was like a rebuilding imperative, which is hard to think of, like, Tornado Alley, and it's like, why would anybody live there? It's like, well, you grew up there, like that's where you're from, and you hope the tornadoes don't hit you.
Exactly.
My brother lives in San Francisco, and he and his boyfriend are just like, the air is terrible. Like, we just like, there's no reason to go outside, and
oh my god.
Yeah, up and down the whole coast. I have friends in Seattle that say the same thing. But yeah, I mean, this is gonna be like, you have to like infrastructure plan for it. Like, as soon as it stops burning, you have to start planning for it for next year. And they don't do it. And it's getting hotter and it's getting drier. Like, every year's the worst year if we don't do stuff about it.
The scary part is because I'm just thinking of the episode that they said that part of like, even like the thought of even people like moving out, it's like a little thought now. Like, it's not even like a plan, nothing in place. It's like just like a little maybe thought, like people need. And I'm like, a maybe thought, like people need to get the fuck out now. Like, you need to get them out now. Like, I understand like that shit is fucking, Cali is very, it's a lot of people in there, and people are probably gonna have to like switch their life 180, but it's like a life or death situation. Like, and I understand the emotional attachment, and who am I to know like what that feels like with the home and all that, but shit, if I have a family and all that, like I'll move. I'm gonna have to move to a different state, because imagine going through this every 7 years or every 2 years or 3 years. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, no, it's annual. They have a fire season. Like,
well, and the tribes that live on the land, or I suppose used to live on the land, used to do like certain like burning, like to get rid of the fuel, like preemptive burning, so that they don't spread. And that practice was stopped, like, I don't know, God, maybe almost a century ago. And obviously the climate has changed quite a lot since then. So like, who's to say if that would be sufficient, but it certainly would be something.
Yeah. And it's interesting that practice was stopped, and just knowing how fucked up, just it's like politics.
We want a golf course.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? We want to keep rebuilding these homes and getting the money flow coming in. And wow, that's sick. Cause I'm like, they need to put like a dome around like just put a dome in.
Like, in the grocery store, produce section where it's like misty.
The refrigeration. Yeah, like something, because this shit is crazy. But Celey, tell us about Josh Ritter's new album.
Okay, so I was also, everything I could think of that blew my mind was really depressing, and so I tried to find a happy thing. So I'm really glad we're talking about the fires. But Josh Ritter he's an indie, like, sort of folk, I guess, artist, but he's written like a ton. Like, he has, I want to say his discography is like maybe 15 full albums. This is a little small album that he just sort of surprise released. Some songs that he'd written, some songs he'd had performed live but never really recorded. And it's just like a little 8-track thing. And if you're into sort of like folksy rock, but like very dense lyrically stuff, he's your guy, and I like it a lot. And it was just one of those things where it came along on a week where I was like, I needed this. I just needed to have this to talk about.
No, I love that. It does it give a little bit of because I want to listen to it. Is it a little bit of like a Mumford and Sons?
There's definitely some of that in there.
Okay, all right.
A little bit of that vibe.
I fuck with Mumford. Wait, say that again, Addie.
You got me at Duncy lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I thought of Paramore, because her lyric game is strong. So
yeah.
All right, well, we will definitely be listening to that. And Addie.
Yeah. So my dead ass is, it's been 6 months, still no arrest for Breonna Taylor.
Yo.
Supposedly, hopefully, they're finally starting not an investigation. They're finally ready to present evidence from the shooting to a grand jury, supposedly early by this week.
Yeah.
So I'm praying for full justice, and I still just can't believe it's still taking this long. But yeah.
Same. I probably look like a monster because I was like smiling while you were giving this report but I was thinking about something. Did after the fire episode, did it run into the Breonna Taylor episode? And
no.
Okay, because that's what that podcast did for me, and literally all the information that you just said, they like reiterated, right. And I was like, oh, I wonder if the same thing happened to her. But yeah, they gave like a full account onto like what happened that night, and it was so eerie. It was so, I mean, because I knew what happened, but like listening to them give the account like again was like, yo, this was serious, like really, really fucked up, just sick.
Warrant went in, shot multiple times.
Yeah.
Somebody
from the outside was shooting inside. Yeah, it was a lot
of unnecessary. Why?
Go ahead, Celey. You look stressed.
I mean, I was listening to, I think maybe last week's episode for you guys, or maybe the week before, and you were saying, and I had like seen it and then heard you guys talking about it, that one of the cops maybe did have a body cam on, and is that some of the, I'm hoping that'll be some of the.
That's why I said they're planning to present evidence. They're still, like, it's an undisclosed, they haven't disclosed where they're gonna do this, like, present it to. It's like undisclosed, so it's like I really hope that's part of the evidence package, because why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
But yeah, because it's out there that there was a body cam.
Mm-hmm.
But then after they said there wasn't, so.
Yeah, and with this whole like announcing themselves thing, like their whole thing is like, oh, like we said police, even though we had like the no knock, whatever, and all of the neighbors that they interviewed were like, no, we never heard. All we heard was like the door busting in and gunshots. And one neighbor said that they heard them say police want and then do all their things. So it's like, come on, like,
At some point, it's like, what evidence? Like, it doesn't. There's no evidence, and there's no. The woman was shot in her bed. Like, there's no justice. Like for that. There's just like people paying a price for a thing that you can't excuse. Like,
it's just there needs to be justice, and it needs to be sooner. It needs to be.
It's really garbage right now.
We're gonna talk. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. All right, we're gonna slide over to our next segment. This is and this is where we give our shout outs to people that deserve them. I'm gonna let you ladies start off while I pull up some things. But Hassan, Addie, who is your shout out to?
Well, my shout outs was to Hassan and his parents for letting him have that dope party. The summer party of the year. But I was also looking at Hassan's parents, because I'm a Cancer, and I always look at like love or like I always look like people who have like a house and a family, and
like family dynamics.
Yeah, family dynamics. That's what it is. And I always just like envision myself like, damn, I could see myself like that, like And his mom is just like she was just vibes, and like a mom, like I would be a mom like that, like so like. Just dancing, like making sure everyone's good, a bunch of food. Like his dad too was chilling, like hyping him, like on dances and stuff. So I wanted to give a shout out to them, showing that Black love, Black family. Like it was just beautiful to see. And thank you for opening your doors to all these children
Yeah, yes.
to get drunken and just live life and celebrate one another, and with no judgments, no nothing. Like, it just felt like very inviting and welcoming and family like, and I love to see that.
Same. And what about you, Celey?
My friends Chanel and Julian are getting married on the 20th of September, and obviously they had a very different wedding planned, and it is now mostly via Zoom. So I'm going to shout them out here.
Shout out to them for still going through with it. I know a lot of people that do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think they're planning to like do the party another time, which we're all looking forward to, but they wanted to like keep their real date, and they've been really cute about like sending out the cocktail list and like just like making it feel like fun.
Yeah.
And also my mom's birthday is on Wednesday, so happy birthday to my mom.
Oh, happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Okay, yes.
And many cakes. She's requested several different cakes throughout the week.
Come on, Seth. That's right. You better have your cake and eat it too, and have another one and eat that one too. Absolutely.
I'm taking the month. I'm having the whole month.
Wow, I'm in love with that. Well, I want to give a yes, first of all, to Al for sponsoring this anchor call. Not anchor, this Zoom chat for the Near Ghost. Thank you very much, Mamacita. And I want to go through our financial anchor supporters and give a yes. So once again, to Allison Monaco. Yes, Taisha Santiago. Yes, Aileen Soto. Nicole. Yes. Brother.
Yeah.
Mr. Matt Negron. And our newest supporter, Sylvia. Yes. Thank you all so much on behalf of the New York Ghosts. Ms. Adaloso right here. Thank you. Yes.
That's just, Sylvia actually hit me up. She was like, it was a Cash App memo, and then I guess she found the link. She was like, I just did it, and I was like, oh my God, thank you.
She's so precious. Yeah, thank you all very much. We're trying to get to 10. We got 7 supporters right now. We're trying to get to 10. You know, you can support for as low as 99 cents a month. You know, it's not expensive to support the New York Dolls. We always have a lot of content for you guys. We are everywhere, all over the waves, and we are doing it all ourselves out of me and Adaloso's tiny little pockets. So anything counts, anything helps. Podcasts cost money, as you know, Celey. All right, so the next thing that we are going to get into is Times Square, the second section of our show.
Yes, and this is our second section of our show, representing the area with the pitter-patter, chitter-chatter, hustle, and the bustle of the city with the muscle, cuz can't nobody flex like us. And during this section, we jaywalk through our segments with zero fucks given, spilling all that tea with that word on the street, giving y'all something to obsess over besides our show, of course. So,
yes.
What it do?
What it do?
We're going to go to that word on the street, and you know, Joe Budden just been all over social media this past week. It first started off with the Spotify deal, and then leaked audio came out of his ex-fiance Sin Santana, you know, saying, you know, accusing him of, you know, abuse. Ooh. And then, well, it also started like with his other ex, Tahiri, that she did an interview too of, and she also, you know, accused him of abuse, and it's just been crazy for him. And also, like, it came out that he likes to jerk off his dog or molest his dog or like touch his dog's private part, and they actually pulled out a clip from his podcast, and you can see Rory, his co-host, like brings his dog like on set, and like there's like that clip, and he's like just playing with his dog, and he's just like, don't be touching my dog, whatever. He was like, what, like you don't like to please your dog? And he was like, no, like, and you could just see his face like taking the dog away, like he was like, none of y'all show love to your dog, like I like to kiss and make out with my dog. So it just like Twitter went crazy with that, and they like were calling him, and I also felt like people were paying more attention with the dog molesting, besides the fact of like there's these audio clips of these women saying that they're our world today. But yeah, that's been all over the place. He did come out and say like, he just loved his dog, but he never like really addressed like the whole like, touching. He says that he never abused anyone. I don't know, there's things missing here. I just want to be like, I don't know, that shit is messy. That shit is
Definitely Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. There's a lot of Stranger Things there. I don't know. Yeah. Also Bow Wow too. Like, it's a lot like abuse. Like, that's why I'm just like, all these like abuse clips came out of like his ex too, like saying these crazy things. Another abuse story is Tamar Braxton and her boyfriend. Like, a lot's been going on there since that whole suicide scare that the suicide attempt that she attempted, and
right,
she's claiming that the new boyfriend like probably like try to kill her, like so like all this stuff, and now he's claiming that she's abusive, and it's just like, it's just craziness. But it's been all over. It's been like trending everywhere, and I just been seeing it, and I was just like, this needs to end, or needs to get figured out. But prayers to all of those. Hopefully, everything gets handled.
yeah.
Also, Nateri from 3LW, and you guys might know her from Power. She stated that she's coming out with an album, and she's gonna be also like talking about like how she was treated being in 3LW and all her like bad experiences. And Keely, which is another member,
Oh God, what did Keely say?
Yeah, she just came out like being salty and like hating, like, and like took a clip of her old like clip of Nateri, and she was just like, she already spoke about everything. Like, this clip, just being like a hater. And
no, but wait, honestly though, I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, all right, girl, how many interviews you gonna talk about the same?
No,
how many interviews are you gonna talk about me throwing a KFC plate at you? Like, girl, it was done. It was done.
No, but I also feel like it was also colorism stuff that was happening to her.
No, for sure.
But I also feel like I it was a little bit on that side, where when I first saw the headline of Nateri saying that she's gonna talk about 3LW things in her new album, I was just like, girl, that was my initial. I was like, you are so successful now, you have so much other things to talk about, like. But then I sat back and thought, and I was like, wait, this could be like real trauma for her. Like, I forget, like, these young girls were like, they were like 15, 16 years old, and
I'm sure the trauma is real.
Yeah, she was treated horribly just because of her skin color, and like she didn't look like the other girls in the group. And I could see her like still like dealing with that. And also Keely, I feel like her like coming out and like still putting all these memes about her, I feel like she's scared that she's gonna say something else. Like, that's the kind of vibe I get from Keely, where she just feels like she's on this defense mode, crazy, that she probably just feels like, damn, I hope she don't say this, something else that happened. So that's the vibe I'm getting from that. But that's been my word on the street.
Okay. And that NDA run out, it'd be like, okay. All right. So I'm just gonna quickly breeze through my little words on the street. So they're reimagining the Golden Girls with Regina King and Tracy Ellis Ross as two of the girls, which I think is fucking fabulous. I'm very excited for that.
I want Zoom. They have like Zoom They had like a Zoom meeting, and it's like people been sharing it, and I haven't sat and watched it, but supposedly it's like hilarious.
I would love to watch that. That's funny. Okay, I don't know. Oh, so Jennifer Lawrence. Wait.
Jennifer Lewis?
I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. Jennifer Lewis. Yes. Jennifer Lewis and Lawrence Fishburne might be doing, or they are doing a spinoff of like the whole like grownish, blackish franchise. So they're doing oldish, which I also think is very exciting because mainly because I just love Jennifer Lewis. So I think that's gonna be fun. We spoke about this a little bit on our live, but the whole kink shaming Odell this week was, I think, ridiculous. I just think that there's so like Odell Beckham Jr., it came out that he likes to be shat on during his sex sessions, which not my steez, not the steez of a lot of people, I am sure. However, I did feel like there was a giant double standard because I feel like we've moved into such a place when it came to women with not kink shaming, you know, like you guys, and just also actually just like anyone, like women, queer people, like we've just made such advancements toward not kink shaming each other. And here you have this cis hetero man that, you know, is revealed that he likes this very rare kink, I guess. And everyone just like went to town on him. So I just thought that that was a little unfortunate, but it happened. The Kardashians are ending next year after 20 years. Khloe, I hear, she's not handling it too well. She's been like crying off and on and things like that. I also feel like they're just gonna launch again in like 7 years when all the kids are older.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever. Charlemagne the God is launching his own podcast network with iHeartMedia called Black Effect. And there's a couple of shows on there like Horrible Decisions. Say that, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, in partnership with iHeartMedia, but he has Horrible Decisions is on there. A podcast with Just Hilarious's podcast is on there. It's a pretty good lineup that I'm really interested in. So I think that that's dope. We spoke about this on the live also, but indoor dining in New York City is supposed to start September 30th at 25%.
Celey's face.
It's not real. It's not real. Yeah.
Right.
Operating at 25% capacity.
I want to see how that's gonna turn out.
It's gonna be a fucking struggle. Okay, so Travis Scott has a McDonald's meal.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't even really know who Travis Scott is. I don't understand the phenomenon, but how the fuck did he get him out of all of the celebrities from the decades of McDonald's? Travis Scott gets a McDonald's meal. Like, can anybody clue me in?
He has a lot of like young white, like teen, like fan base. It's like because it's like punk, rap, trap, you know. So that's like mostly his fan base, and I feel like those people like is a lot of them. So I think that's what got him up to like more of his stardom. But he broke like some like records and like shit like that. But I saw that, and my initial thought was just like McDonald's, like.
Well, I mean, yeah, that too, but like
I was just like, just being like a black like this shit, like I just feel like in a revolution right now, like
yeah.
I understand, like get your coin, do whatever you want. I'm not judging, but it's just like, what if you chose something else that was a little bit more healthier or a little bit more like there's a lot of like stigmas with McDonald's, especially in our communities. Like they put it like in all these places.
Yeah. I mean,
just like I just felt like it was just a little bit like I felt like you could have done it with something else.
It could be something else. Yeah, ahead, Celey.
I just Googled this because I didn't know who Travis Scott was at all, but
same kind of.
I mean, he's not like, I'm not his fan base. Like he doesn't care what I think. But the only other celebrity, like the first celebrity since Michael Jordan to have their name on a McDonald's menu, and that is wild because no one's more famous than Michael Jordan. And like this guy, like bless his heart, but like what are we like? That's crazy. So just I wanted that as a fun fact. That's all I know about it. I just Googled it.
Thank you for that.
He's been low-key getting lots of partnerships because with Nike, he created his own sneaker. That shit sold out. That shit was like $1,200, that sneaker, and it sold out crazy. Like maybe his connection with Kylie Jenner has, you know, got him through those doors too. I mean, I hope not, but
that's all very interesting. And going back to the thing that you said, Addie, about there just being so many other possibilities. Like you have all these other chains like Dunkin', Starbucks, Burger King that have, you know, like the impossible thing going on. And it's like McDonald's is still like the largest and the only restaurant that does not have any like real like vegan options or anything like that yet. So I just think that like, y'all could have been working on that before. I mean, it's just all very interesting.
Or like, maybe partner with a Black-owned vegan or, healthier company, small business. Like, I just feel like we're, like, why not take, like, those, like, and build both of y'all up, like, you can be helping a small business, and then, like, I don't know. I just feel like, aren't we at that stage right now? Like, like, using your platform for...
Well, no, not everybody is, so...
I know, and that's what I have to just accept.
Exactly. So Cuomo's trying to get us back on the subway. There's a $50 fine for non-compliance with masks, though, so just make sure you got that shit on. Century 21 is going out of business. Dumbo. Oh, this is a little fun fact for us, Daddy. Did I just call you Daddy? Well, I'm feeling nasty. A little fun fact for us is that WeWork Dumbo is closing.
Oh, shit!
I told Julissa, I was like, oh, my curse finally came into action. So, yeah, they're done. The Fresh Prince reunion with all the people that are still alive, and also with both the Aunt Vivs, and I'm just excited to watch that on HBO Max. Cancel Netflix has been trending because apparently they released a movie that basically perpetuates sex with, like, children a little bit.
It's called Cuties. I haven't watched a clip, but I've been seeing, like, just on the Shade Room and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, it's like, it's kind of like competition dance, like the younger girls, but it's very like sexualized. I haven't seen the film a lot, but it's a lot of people are claiming it's disturbing. I mean, even the pictures I've seen kind of look disturbing, and I'm just like.
And I think it focuses on, I don't know if she's like a young like Muslim woman or a girl, or but it also just focuses on a culture that
Black girls.
Yeah, that
it was in. People were tight to that. They put it like in the section of strong Black leads. They were like, "This is what you're promoting," and there's Black girls always missing constantly. Like, and that's what I'm talking about. Like with the Travis Scott thing. Like, again, reading the room. Like of just like, this is what you're really gonna put on this platform or like promote when there's like all this fucking Pizzagate shit. All this shit is like coming out, and it's like, this is what you continually promoting, and then putting it under our like strong Black leads, like giving us another, like adding on to the fire, like supposed to be de-escalating the fire. So it's just like little things like that. People don't think that sets us back more,
So Netflix is getting a lot of flack for that. Sundance is getting a lot of flack. The Obamas are getting a lot of flack because everybody's like, they love Netflix and they're deeply connected with Netflix. So it's getting very messy. And then last but not least, be careful what you order from Amazon because a lot of their packages are exploding recently. Yeah, there's lots of Amazon packages are exploding, and they are now under, ironically, fire for that. So, just be careful what you get. And that is the word on the street. We're going to transfer over to our next segment. This is Weekly Obsession, where we discuss anything that we've been obsessing over this week. Celey, what's these grilled cheeses about?
Okay. I feel like as soon as the season changes, what I want to eat changes, and it started to like actually get cold up here. It's like dipping into the 50s and below at night.
Oh.
And that feels like grilled cheese and tomato soup weather. And then I've started baking like a ton with apples. And I want, if I can like sneak into the word on the street segment.
Oh, yeah.
Because I just thought of things as we were talking, and I didn't write anything when we were talking about it ahead of time.
It's okay.
But I saw that this has kind of like been around, but if you guys haven't already talked about it, the Oscars putting out like diversity requirements, and then everyone losing their damn mind over it, even though all of the movies that have previously won Oscars would still qualify for the most, like almost all of them.
Yeah.
Literally all it is like, okay, if you want to do a history movie and only have white people in it, like you have to have some parody behind the camera. Then it's like just literally the bare minimum, but we put it in writing.
Yeah.
And so many sad boys wanted to have a big sad about it, and then if you read them, they're really just like super reasonable, very minimal requirements that are like a nice step, but not going to change anything like horrifically.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Academy, which is just like the oldest, whitest dudes, are having to do this publicly is like hopefully an indication of a sea change.
Yeah.
And then also everybody register to vote and vote early, because you can vote early in person almost everywhere. Like if you're afraid of like waiting in lines and shit, like you can make a plan and like go starting like October 24th, I think it is, in New York.
Ooh, love that.
Vote.
I didn't know you could vote early.
Yeah, you can request a ballot, and if you don't want to mail the ballot back because you don't trust whatever's going on with the post office, you can like deliver the ballot by hand. Or some places you can just like go in to the city clerk and like vote, and it depends where every state is different. Like some counties are different, but like the voting day is more like the last chance to vote as opposed to like your only chance to vote. We basically have almost every state, you pretty much have like a month where you could go cast that ballot. So like it's hard with people like a job that's hard to take time off of, or like a kid, or just literally anything normal. Like I want to toss that out there. And the
no, please, that's great to know. I never, and it's also interesting to think about it like that. Like voting day is like the day. Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I feel like I never think about that, and like so many people that I follow have been saying that, and I was like, oh, I should say that anytime anyone is listening to me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And what I thought the canceled Netflix thing was going to be about is I know a ton of the cast, like a huge chunk of the cast of Dear White People, was like trying to negotiate different salaries, and because there wasn't parity with like their white cast members, and they were having an issue with the powers that be, I think mostly at Lionsgate. And I don't know enough about it to like say more than that, but it has been like it's an interesting thing to like follow on Twitter. And Justin Simien, the creator of that, like has a really fun episode, not about drama at all, but more about like adapting stuff for the screen on this other podcast called Script Notes, which is totally worth listening to because he's like a super interesting guy.
Ooh, okay.
Those are my things.
Yes, love it. Thank you.
Oh, and Jim Gaffigan like finally lost it, and I just think that's the best. It's like as soon as you pissed off Jim Gaffigan, it's like we're beyond the pale, and he's mad, and now everyone should be mad once Jim Gaffigan is mad.
And I mean, as it should be, right?
Yeah,
as it should be.
Sorry.
Wow. Yes, thank you. Addie, you have no weekly obsession. Mine is I finally completed binging Riverdale. You know, I love deliciously tacky things. So Riverdale is not a great show, but it is everything that I love in a show. And it was a fun ride. I'm so excited. I mean, like the show's not done, but like, I'm sad that I'm done catching up to it. So there's that. We're gonna switch on over to a break. And we are back. All right. Here in season 3, La Bodega is our third newest and final section of our show. There are 2 segments here: Game Time, where we have some fun, and Off the Shelf, where we get a little analytical. So we are playing Rules for Life again.
My favorite.
Okay, this is about connections, not cards. It's intentionally designed to create an open-ended experience that is always different. The hope is that each time you play, your conversations are as amazing as the life experiences and imaginations of the people you are engaging with. There are 100 cards divided into 4 categories: life, adulting, relationships, and after dark. There's also 4 different modes. We're going to be putting a spin on the storytime mode, where we draw a card, find a way that it resonates with the memory, and then share our rule about the card behind it. So, Adaloso, we're going to start with you. The card that you chose is a adulting edition card, and it says, "Rules for Yelling, World Star."
That's adulting.
That's adulting.
Rules for Yelling, World Star. I just feel like that's so outdated. I'm sorry, Rules for Life. We in 2020, no one's yelling out. Who watches World Star anymore? Not me.
Apparently, it's still a valiant platform.
Yeah, I have no rules because I don't watch World Star no more. Okay. And I'm not one of those people that yelled out World Star and take out their phone. Like, I'm gonna see if I can help you by any chance. So.
Oh, you're a good Samaritan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my rules is like, don't fucking yell out World Star and go fucking help.
Okay. So your rule is don't. Okay, I love it. What about you, Celey?
my personal rules for yelling world star.
Yeah.
I feel like Addie's is an excellent point. It's like, can you diffuse the situation, and then if not, get far enough away
and yell it.
Maybe if you just say it quietly for yourself, like for your own video that you're personally having.
Just mouth it like,
yeah.
I'm going to say my rules for yelling world star are or is whatever. Only do it if something highly entertaining is happening. If something highly entertaining is going down, you can do it. And I think it has to be something that's highly entertaining, but that's also ratchet. I feel like that's because like you can't be a Broadway show like World Star, you know what I'm saying? Like it has to be an atmosphere that is both entertaining and like 49% ratchet. So like if people are like turning up at the funeral because, you know, both the ex-girlfriends showed up or whatever, that's a World Star, you know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be my rule. It has to be entertaining and ratchet combined together.
Yeah. Opportunity to just like use World Star with Karens, and I feel like that's like a privilege that like I should be using. Yes. Karen is just like really embarrassing herself. Like who else is gonna hold her responsible? But she's not gonna know what World Star means. So then it's kind of lost. It's only there for like the people watching the video that you post later.
I'm here for it. Celey, you pulled a relationship edition card. God. And you have to come up with rules for relationship rebounds.
Ooh. You mean, okay, I have a qualifying question. You didn't write the game, but do you mean a rebound in terms of like the relationship you have after the first relationship, or like a redo, like a rebounding of the same relationship? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those feel different.
Ultimately, it's up to you. Okay. I'm gonna say my personal head went to the first thing that you said.
The rebound.
Yeah. But that's the thing about this game. It's up to you. It's whatever you know.
Great. I didn't know if there was maybe an asterisk at the bottom of the card that really explained it.
Here's what we really actually mean.
Someone who is not notorious for like having any kind of relationships close together, I don't know if I'm the person who should make these rules, but I will give advice anyway because it's so easy. So, I would say, like, I think this is probably the rule for any relationship anyway, but like you should just be clear up top. Like because like there's this connotation of like what a rebound is, and sometimes the person that you date after the person you dated is your person. Yeah. So and then there's like the thing that's actually a rebound, which is like, look, this is just what this is for now. If that's cool with you, great. But yeah. I think that's like any relationship, like after a fairly short period of time, you have some sense of like what this person can be to you. So like if you're both on board with that, great. And you should just be super upfront about it. Like, look, this is what I'm capable of. This is what I'm into. And if you're not capable of doing that, like get yourself out of there.
Yep, absolutely. Love that. What about you, Adaloso?
I'm thinking it's very same, like being clear and upfront, but I'm thinking because I've been in a situation where I kind of felt like a rebound. So I want to get from that perspective, if you're on the side where you feel like you're a rebound, but you feel like also this person, because rebound, of course, like you said, has that negative connotation, but if it's your person, you know, but this person like was also like somebody that you can see yourself with, and they have been like vocal with you since the beginning and saying like, this is my situation, I came out of this like 2 months ago, but you know, I still enjoy you. I feel like from that person, a rule for them, like knowing that and knowing that they just came out of a situation, even if you guys are both like in love or like still, you know, like feeling each other, keep in mind and take your time. Like being from the other side, like yes, it's going well, but also I always think like, wait, but this person just came out of something. Like, you know, feelings are crazy. Like people could say they're over someone, but yeah, then they're not. Then it's like 6 months down the line, like, oh yeah, I got back with my ex. Like, no, like, so I feel like being at the other end, take your time. Like, take your time until you really feel like, okay, they're over. And you won't know that they're over the person until you take your time with them. So then you start seeing like little things that, you know, that will come out that will show you like, okay, they're really over the other person, you know, because I feel like that's the worst position to be in, where it's like someone came out of a fresh new relationship and they think they're over the person, and then they get into something with you, and then you guys are doing great the first 6 months, and then everything starts coming out after that, where they thought, or they suppressed it through you, those feelings through you, and then you have to deal with the consequences after, you know? So
Yeah.
Even if they're over the person, but like maybe they're not healed yet.
exactly. That's what
yeah.
because they suppress it through you, because you're bringing in, you know,
all the distractions.
exactly.
I'm a little conflicted because when I first read that card, I agree with you, Addie. I'm like, the way that I thought about it is that I feel like my rule for a relationship rebound would be to date yourself first for a little bit. Like, make sure you give yourself that space to date you before you start moving on to the rebound. But now I'm kind of feeling like the purpose of a rebound is the rebound. You're the rebound.
You should wait, but if you are gonna,
if
clear and upfront, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like if you are truly doing the rebound thing, I would say okay. My rule would be you have a good month or two to classify somebody as a rebound. I feel like if you start engaging with people after like 2 months after a breakup, I feel like you're just dating again. Like, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like a rebound, it's kind of like a one night stand.
Right. This is a good rule that has like dates and numbers and stuff. Your rule is very like
I'm trying to give time frames here. That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm just gonna leave that at. And the card that I actually pulled, with my eyes closed, I pulled Adaloso's favorite. This is the After Dark edition.
Ooh.
My card says rules for tapping out during sex. And I'm just going to say, my rule for tapping out during sex would be, there are some troopers out there. There are some troopers. And I'm going to say that unless you are actually doing porn, there's nobody to impress. If it's time to tap out, it's time to tap out. If you're done, you're done. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason to keep up a charade or to feel like you need to endure something, because there's nobody else in the room. I mean, well, maybe I don't even know. Maybe you do got a whole bunch of other people in the room, and you do got people to
someone in the room. There's one person in the room.
There's one person in the room. But I don't know if you're in some type of menage a trois and you're trying to impress your best friend on the other side of the room. I don't know. But what I'm going to say is we endure too many other things in this life. Sex should not be one of them.
No, well, or you shouldn't be having sex with someone if you feel like you have to tap out. Like, what they doing? Like,
what if that dick is humongous and you love him, but you just gotta now deal with.
Again, we gotta go back. Okay, so my rule again, like, just say like you need a moment. Like, again, being vocal. Like, but I also feel like I'm gonna speak for women too. Like I'm gonna speak from my experience when I was younger. Like, I wasn't as vocal during sex because, of course, I was still learning, and I was just like, you want to just please the person, like, right. You're a pleaser. But again, be vocal. If you need a moment, if you need to go use the bathroom, if you need, like, if something is bothering you, like, just you gotta say it, because it's not. We endure so much. It's not worth it. It's supposed to be a pleasure moment for both of us, a release. And if I'm not feeling uncomfortable, I'm gonna fucking say it, and I'm tapping out, and we can get back to it after if that's what it calls for.
Yeah, I think you honestly, like, if you're having, I don't want to say like right and wrong, but like if you're having sex with the right people, you both know when it's time to tap out, because you should have some sense of like how is this going for them? Whether it's like, sometimes stuff isn't working, that's okay. But like, if you're with someone where you like can't tell or couldn't say it if it's going on for you, then like maybe that's not the person that you should be doing those things with. And people can like, there's a big range of like, some people have like a much bigger range of like people they feel comfortable talking to. Like, so know yourself.
Yeah. Ooh.
You should, if that's the situation, you ought to be able to tell that that's how the other person is feeling. You should be like in enough with someone you're doing that with.
Right.
To know they need a minute. Like you, like it's not even for you. Like you could tell that the other person needs to tap.
Right. And that's an aware partner.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I do know some people though that
I'm sure that's not true. Like, yeah.
They just take the and all up in the fucking ovaries and shit.
We got some tracks, some Olympians out here. And bless all your little Olympic hearts. We're going to move over to our next segment. This is Off the Shelf. This is where we discuss gems that we've extracted from other media outlets in hopes that we can pass on the wisdom to you folks, or that you will simply continue the discussion. I'm going to start off with mine, and then we're going to end with Celey. Oh, thank you, Celey, so much. Usually I'm the only person that has something to say in this segment.
Don't I like to piggyback because because that's just where it's been flowing. So don't.
So I just want to say, I think, damn, what is this now? Okay. So of course I was listening to my girl Amanda Seales, and I think they were basically talking about this idea of a character death. And this whole thing with like, when you need to get over people, like an ex, a friend, or whatever, if the situation is that serious and you feel like they can't exist in your life, you kind of have to commit a character death. And the way that she was talking about it, it finally made me understand how I operate and how I'm so easily able to like flip the switch, as I call it, from Vampire Diaries. But this whole idea of just like, you literally, if you feel like you cannot just like acknowledge somebody's existence anymore, then you literally have to kill that person in your conscience. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, oh, let me answer this message for them, let me linger this on that, and the third. No, you literally have to kill them in your conscience. They can no longer exist. Whereas with say that again?
I'm just thinking like, yo, if we were more quote unquote famous or whatever, people would take that clip and be like, DJ SJ614 say, if you don't like someone, you have to kill them. And then we have to come out and be like, people didn't put out the whole clip in your conscience, but I just had a moment. Okay, go on.
That's funny. But whereas if you're going through just like because there's a difference. Like if you're going through like, you know, a breakup where you're experiencing healing and things like that, you go through a period of like mourning. You know what I mean? And that's why it still like lingers on and things like that. But if it's someone that like has truly done you wrong, then you kind of have to commit a little bit of a character death. So I just wanted to mention that because that just like directly like applied to me. It made so much sense in my head. And I was just like, wow, like that is really how I move on from certain people. It's either a character death or it's either kind of like a breakup where I'm mourning them like a little bit, you know? So yeah, that's just that. What about you, Celey?
Well, I don't have like a place where I can't like remember the articles that have been talking about this, but there are a bunch. But basically there's just like so many articles discussing like the future of cinema and what movie theaters are going to be doing. And that's just near and dear to my heart because that's what I grew up working in a movie theater. That's like my family's business. And we are too small to open and operate at 25% capacity. We can't open for like 9 people a day. Yeah. So, but that's just an entire industry that I am really hoping like bounces back, but I don't know if the small ones will survive depending on how we do things. And so that's just something I'm watching. And there's two books that I'm just read and one that I'm almost done with. One is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. She is she's like a fairly famous author, and she's married to an extremely famous women's soccer player. And this book kind of follows what was going through, like it's a memoir, it's like essays and whatever, but it's a little bit what was going on in her life, like while she was like leaving her marriage to a man, and within a year was married to this woman Abby Wambach, who's incredibly famous. Wow. And it's just like, you know, it's a lot of those like life advice things. Like she talks about like how she like figured herself out, and like, so it's not like self-helpy, but it's not that. It's, if you really like the Liz Gilberts of the world, which I am not a big reader of that kind of stuff, I found this very readable.
Okay.
So like it's a middle ground for like, if that's not your jam, like you might find this interesting.
Yeah.
And this other book is called We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Barry. Yes. And it's about,
I said yes with the books. I haven't been reading that much, but my friend got me a book, James Baldwin.
Oh yeah, it's
If Beale Street Could Talk.
Your friend got you a dense, like emotional.
Yeah.
I need to get back to my reading, sis. I'm gonna go on.
We Ride Upon Sticks is a very easy read. It's about a women's like field hockey team in like 1989 in Danvers, Massachusetts, and they're a really bad team, and they want to go to states, and so they start like fucking around with witchcraft, and they become really good. And it's just like, it's very funny, it's very irreverent. You can tell, like you can feel Quan Barry was she's Black, but I think she was born in Singapore, and you can tell like in all the characters on the team there's like a little bit of her in everybody, and so it's just like, very interesting and fun, and like a weird period piece. So that's a novel, it's not like a memoir. That's just fun.
Send that period piece.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. I'm curious on some of the things that you've been reading about the future of cinema. Like, what are some things that people have been discussing? Because I haven't been really following. The only conversations about, you know, cinema that I've been following are all of the ones that involve AMC, because, you know, whatever. But like, yeah, like for the more like for the smaller conglomerates, what are they talking about? Like,
I mean, honestly, they're not talking to us at all. Like nobody cares what we think. And film, I mean, honestly, I understand, like the studios have to make money. So it's been long enough that they're just like, okay, well, we're going to release Mulan for $30. We're going to release Tenet, and we're going to hope that people go to theaters. But I mean, a theater that might gross $50,000 in a weekend is down to like $3. And if you scale that down to a really small town theater, like that's just that you can't keep the lights on for that.
Yeah.
And you know, people are justifiably scared of going, and so there's a lot of talk of like air filters and like air filtration systems, like kind of like what makes airplanes a little bit safer than they might otherwise be.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of talk of like moving stuff like really far apart, moving stuff outside. There's some sort of theater that's trying to set up in Paris that wants to put you in little boats in a lake, like a drive-in.
Oh yes,
like,
yes, I've heard of that. Yeah.
But that's not like like I feel like cinema, like movie theaters have always been like, they survived the Great Depression because they're cheap family fun. Like the family can't go on vacation, the family can't afford to do a lot of stuff, but like you have $12 to like go through things. And so now scaling it up, it's like, okay, you can't do like this and this, but like you probably have $50 to like go like you, the kids, and like a soda and like go see Black Panther 2, like whatever you're going to see.
Literally a soda. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Depending, in New York, that's like nothing, but here it's like you could also probably do dinner for $50. And
exactly, yeah. Jesus.
And so, like, it's always been like one of the most affordable things. And so to kind of take it off the table, I have this hope that it will come roaring back, but it's like it's just like the restaurants, you got to live long enough to come back.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's really curious to see how like streaming goes, because that's how, I mean, writers and directors and producers like make their money off like what's called the back ends. Like a theatrical release is now different if you're just releasing on Netflix. So like if you're a hit on Netflix, do you make more money than if no one watches you on Netflix? And nobody really knows how to like do those contracts yet, but it's like kind of too late because it's already taken over.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's very interesting. It's like a little stressful, but I'm not in charge of it. So it's
right. Oh my God,
y'all world. I'm just like taking all this in, like, wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay. We're in weird times. Um, well, that brings us to the end of this episode. This episode was really fun. You can find us at the New York Dose anywhere and everywhere. You can find me at DJSJ614 on Instagram and Twitter.
Yes, and you can find me at Adaloso09 on Instagram.
And CD.
You can find me at Celey Schumer. Celey spelled like celery without the R. Schumer spelled like Chuck Schumer, the senator, or Amy Schumer, the comedian, depending on what kind of stuff you follow. I'm at Celey Schumer on Twitter and Instagram, and my podcast is at Still Got It Podcast or at Still Got It on Instagram.
Yes, and all of this will be in our episode description. This episode was produced by the board of the New York Dose, hosted by the Carbon Dioxide Network and Al Monaco. Thank you for the Zoom. Our engineer and editor for this episode is me. Photos.
Oh, we gotta take some photos.
Yeah. Photos have been captured by Adaloso via Zoom. And shout out to the rest of the New York Dose team: Gina, Monique, Teek, Jilu, David, Kwame, Lenny, Samia, Janelle, and Henny Elise. Don't forget to ever stay dope.
Stay dose.
And stay New York. It's the New York Dose, baby.
Hey.
Yeah.
Don't leave, y'all. Don't leave. How do I do a speech?
Yeah, y'all already know. What? I'm about to kill it, though. Fuck out of here. Let's go. What's good, everybody? What's good? What's good, everybody? What's good? What's good, everybody? What's good? What's good, everybody? Hey, what's good, everybody? Hey, what's good, everybody? Hey, what's good, everybody? Hey, what's good, everybody? The original. Since I starting on these bitches invisible. Everything I do so typical. Ain't you wondering why these chickens are inquisitive?